Hello folks, today we are going to be going over the lonely mole. A couple things I want to point out to you right away. We're going to be doing a lot of calculations. And 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd has 3 significant digits as we're going along. So we got a couple things that we need to finish up on your sheet. H2O is a molecule. H2O is made up of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. And if you have 1 mole of water molecules, there would be 2 moles of hydrogen atoms and 1 mole of oxygen atoms. A couple things that I want to point out to you. Mole and mole are the same thing, and they can be used interchangeably. All right, so today we need to go to your cover of your unit pack, and we need to name a couple bridges. So on the cover of your unit pack, I need you to add this. This is always going to come off the periodic table as a molar mass. And this number will always be used anytime you go between those 2 islands. So there's Graham Island here, there's Mole Island, and then there's atom molecules and miscellaneous island. And anytime you go across a bridge, it's a multiplication sign, so it kind of helps us figure out how many steps we have to our problems. A couple things you will need to know is that grams per mole is how many grams there are in a mole, or it can be read as 1 mole is a certain number of grams. So if we look at copper right here, we could say 1 mole of copper is 63.55 grams, or we could say 63.55 grams is 1 mole of copper. And we can use that as an equation in our factor label problems. So number 4 is the first problem that we have to do. We need to see where we are and where we need to go. So in this problem it says we have grams of F2, so we're starting off here, and it says it would be how many moles. So we need to go right here. So we have to cross 1 bridge, and that's 1 multiplication sign, and this is a grams per mole bridge, which means we need to get a mass off the periodic table. A couple things we need to figure out before we do this. We have fluorine, which has a mass of 19.00 grams per mole. But in this problem, we have F2, so that's going to be 38.00 grams per mole. So we'll be using that number today as we're doing some of our calculations. So I'm going to erase this, and we'll get started with the problem. The first step in any problem is to start with the number that you're given. Okay, and then we're going to put G for grams, and then it's very important that we break down the F2 as well. Always need the substance. The next step is a multiplication sign, division bar. Third step is whatever this label is, it's going to go down here. So grams of F2. So I'll get rid of that so we don't have to look at that. And then we're on Graham Island, and we're going to go to Mole Island. So we're going to go to moles F2. Mole F2, moles F2. We don't really care about singular or plural. We went across 1 bridge, so that was 1 multiplication sign. That was that right there. And the actual bridge is this step right there. So we're going between grams and moles. So what is the relationship between grams and moles? That is molar mass, or that 38.00 grams per mole. 1 mole is 38.00 grams. The 38 will always go with the grams, 1 will always go with the mole. Our labels do cancel out there, so we're left with a label of moles of F2. We crunch that number on our calculators, and we end up getting 324.871 on our calculator. But this number has 6 sig figs, and this one has 4 sig figs, and this one has infinite sig figs. So our answer should have 4 sig figs in it. So our answer will be 324.9 moles of F2. This next problem, it says we have 23.89 moles of aluminum, and how many atoms would that be? So we are starting here, and we are going over here. That is what we are doing. So we start with what they are given, 23.89 mole of aluminum. Without thinking too much, we put a multiplication sign, division bar, and whatever this label is up on top, we put on the bottom. We're at Mole Island here, and we are going this way over to atoms, molecules, and miscellaneous. And in this problem, it wants atoms of aluminum. So we go atoms, aluminum. This bridge is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. We've got to figure out where to put that. Well, a couple things you need to know. One will almost always go with mole, and that means 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd won't go there. And 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd is a mole. So to put that number right there is saying you have a mole of moles. And I have never seen that actually happen. I've never seen 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd moles of anything. So 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd goes right here. One will almost always go with moles. Our label cancels there. Our label cancels there. We are left with atoms, aluminum, and our calculator answer is 1.43817 times 10 to the 25th. And sig fig wise, here we have 4 sig figs. Here we have infinite, and here we have 3 sig figs. So our answer should only have 3 sig figs. So 1.44 times 10 to the 25th atoms of aluminum. Well, folks, that's how you're taught it. Every time you do a problem, go ahead and look at the mole map first. Figure out where you're starting. Figure out where you're going to. That'll tell you how many multiplication signs you'll have. Set up the whole problem, then go back and after you calculate it, figure how many sig figs you should have in your final answer. As always, come in for help if you need it. That's all for now.